Hey guys, I know I said I was going to start this at 8, it's 8:08, 8:09. I had a little bit of problem with the computer, so we might have to do this without the computer. I tried using the older one just because I want to be able to show some of the comic book and what we're going to be doing today, so I got it under the light, but the computer's acting funny. Hopefully it holds up. If not, we could always just go by the comic book. This is Mr. Anderson Reviews, Michael Metlin's Kane. We did an unboxing yesterday, and I got to take this out, and unfortunately that disappeared. So, to make up for it, I'm actually going to do a live review, something I've never done before. So, for anyone who doesn't know what a review is that I do, basically, this is how it works. I look at the comic book, and I read it. And I go by 7 questions. And the 7 questions are, where did I get it? What was the cost? Did it leave me wanting a next issue? Continued story. Was I entertained and excited to turn the page? Were the characters relatable and interesting? What was my overall thoughts on the comic book? And do I recommend this comic book to others? And what is the comics genre? So we're going to go all over that today. Once again, for those just joining in late, this is about Michael Metlin's Kane. I got it on Amazon to start off. Where did I get it? I got it here on Amazon. So, because I'm an Amazon Prime user, I wind up getting free shipping, so that works out for me. So sometimes I like getting comic books there, and Amazon's a great tool for anyone who's looking to use it to sell comic books. You can definitely get on board with it. There you go. This is how I got it. I got it within 2 days. That was pretty cool. Very quick turnaround. And the quality's good. You know, I can't really complain. I just don't like how they ship comic books because they wind up bending them in the mail. But that's just a personal peeve I have with it. So let's get on to the second question, which is, what was the cost? Now the cost is on Amazon. For this particular one, I paid $6.25. So, and very easy to get. I mean, if you have Amazon Prime. And I should say that this isn't the only place you can get it, just for the record. We also have the ability, you guys get to see the naked thread. This is actually what I look at in the background. And if you really want to see something sexy, it's naked now. But kidding around aside, let's actually view the post outside of the background. This is how how it looks when it's there. But the reason I did this, Advent Comics, the website itself, you can get to right here. They actually sell it from their website. And I think if you go through them, you'll get a more comic book feel versus Amazon's paperback version of the comic book. I thought it was cool to get the paperback version, but I'm definitely going to see if I can meet up with Michael at one point to get the official comic book version of it, because I think there is a slight difference to it. I'd have to actually ask Michael if he knows, if he's seen both of them yet in his hand. I know I saw him with the regular comic books at a comic book signing. I don't know if he actually has had an Amazon copy in his hands. I mean, it's a little more, if you notice, I'm trying to show you the best I can on the video, it's a little bit more of a thicker cover, and there's a little bit more of a gap than you're not used to from a regular comic book. And for some reason, they left a couple pages blank in the back. I have no idea why. It was kind of weird that they did that. I'm sure Michael would have loved to put some of his art, because Michael's got some great art, and he would have loved to add some art in there if he knew about it. So hopefully Michael can reach out to Amazon and ask him why they're blank pages, and if there are blank pages, maybe he can fill them with some of his art, because he does some great art. We've actually showcased him. We did do the interview with Michael. This was back when he was just starting Kane, so I've actually been able to see this story grow for a very long time now, and those of you who are fans of the site have seen this come to be. Oh, Michael's on with us. Very cool. Glad to have him on with us today. Very excited that he could join us. If you have any questions, feel free to ask him while I'm doing this. I'm trying to get through it as quick as I can. I know it's Saturday night, but I did want to make up for what happened last night. That was somehow my own stupidity, and if you saw me gasping for air, don't worry, I'm fine. It's just my back's been killing me lately, so the pain sometimes makes it a little harder to breathe. But we'll get through it. Don't worry. Okay, so here we go. We know that we were to get it from Amazon or Advent. We know the cost was $6.95. I don't know the cost on Advent. Let's see what the cost on Advent is. Hold on, let me get to it. See if we can see where the cost is. There it is. It was only $3, so it's actually cheaper to get it from Advent, and I might actually now go out and get it from Advent just to have both copies of it. And like I said, I will try to run into Michael at a con, and maybe I'll get him to actually sign it for me and be able to get the signature on the book, because we all know how important that can be to have it signed copy. But as you can see, we covered Michael and his Kane project quite a lot over the months. We're even very excited about it coming soon. So enough about what we covered. Let's talk about tonight's topic, which the third question for tonight is, did it leave me wanting a next issue continued story? Yes. The one big problem with any new comic book is it has to deal with the origin. Why is this person who they are? What's going on? And for a lot of people, this is a very hard thing to kind of go through. There are a lot of comic books that struggle with the beginning story. They get stuck on trying to tell you a little bit too much, and they'll go on a little bit too more, and Michael doesn't get stuck in that rut. His comic starts off very quickly, giving us some action, and it goes from there to just having a first issue that really doesn't stop. I mean, the few moments where there's not a lot of action going on, we get to see a bit of the character's humanity, and that's always a good thing. And I'm not trying to spoil it, so I'm not going to tell you what goes on. I do think it's a great story. I think that the very little I'll show you today is done to not at all ruin what you guys will be in store for when you buy this comic. Because I personally think the comic is worth it, and I am definitely going to say that it is a Mr. Anderson approved comic book. So this is a very, very good book for the story, because it instantly makes me want to do another one. And I read a lot of comic books, and not all of them make me really want to go to a next comic book. But this one did, and that's important. That's how you build. So I'm excited to see number 2, and I hear the art in it is getting better. I've talked to Mike about it. He said that he's shown me some stuff, and it's amazing. I mean, it really, like, Mike's really finding his stride, which is great. Usually you see a kind of a drop in sometimes in issue 2 for some reason. I don't know if it's that they're rushing through it or they're trying to get it done, but for Mike, he's actually improving as he goes, so that's going to be great. Because you already have a good story, and he's actually, like, turning on the juice and, you know, really trying hard to make issue 2 something spectacular. And from what I've just seen, the slight things I've seen, they just show me, while just showing me like a concept. It's been amazing. So issue 2 is going to be great. Was I entertained and excited to turn the page? Yes. Now, one thing I will say about this comic book is that there are some horrific scenes in it. Mike doesn't hold back. Michael's very honest in his storytelling, and there are moments that are very important to the story, but they are going to be kind of graphic. And I'm not going to show you them, because that's going to be in it. But I'll say that the way he uses it was very good, because he wants to show this humanity of this character, and he wants to show, you know, why he's going to be doing what he's going to be doing. And this is the perfect setup, because I think once anyone sees it and reads it, they'll be like, yep, I do the same thing he's about to do. And that's amazing, because that makes the characters relatable and interesting, which is the next one. I mean, there are some characters that issue 1 pretty much says goodbye to, but I'm kind of hoping they come back. I'm not going to say who, but there are definitely characters in it that look like they won't make a further issue, but I'm hoping somehow they do, because I'd like to know more about them. Maybe a prequel at one point to explain a little bit more about certain characters. But that's just me. That's just how interesting it was. That I wanted more. I wanted more than I got. And that's always a great thing, because that now makes me a fan of it. And now I'm someone who wants to know, hey, who was that guy? What's that about? He's built those story arcs and those seeds in the story that we want to see more. So, I mean, that in itself makes it very interesting. What was my thought overall on the thoughts on the comic book? Okay, so as a comic book. We're going to flip through. I'm not really going to tell you too much about what's going on. Just to give you an idea what it looks like. I think it's amazing. I personally think it's great. Without spoiling the story, here's the thing. It's a story that could be considered a horror, and this is like another question on us. What is the genre? And here's the thing with the genre. It could be a horror story at certain points. It could be a romance story at certain points, and it's funny. You actually laugh because of the jokes that are put in there, and you hear them and you get like, that's actually really funny, and it's kind of a giggle. And the way he tells the story is very interesting. It's almost like his main character's talking directly to you at moments, and I always like that, the missing fourth wall. And it's not like he's trying to be like Deadpool and entertain you. It's like he's just telling you what's going on. You know, and I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the long run, because I always think that's interesting when a character has the ability to tell you. The one thing that I will spoil a little bit, and I'm sorry, Michael, but I really, really, really liked it. And it's not that big of a thing to the story, but I'm going to show you guys right here. That's his car, right there. I love the look of the car. And he actually says, bet you never seen a car like this before, ? Yeah, because it's custom. One of the upsides to being an assassin for hire and a master thief is that the pay is beautiful. I thought that was kind of awesome. I think that set a tone for exactly who this character is and who he's going to be. And I thought that was really cool. So it was really interesting right away. You get to see his story. It's fun. I don't know it has a genre, honestly. I think it's one of those kind of comic books that you can't put in a box because it's going to be in its own box. I think Michael created something that's going to be its own entity, and that's an amazing thing when you actually get to pick up something and this isn't going to be Superman, this isn't going to be Batman, this is going to be something different. This is going to be something that's dirty at times, and dirty in a way not like, you know, not dirty like HBO late at night dirty, but dirty like you're going to wind up wondering what the right call is in those moments, if that makes sense. It's like one of those movies, like, what would I do in that situation? And when you realize, I mean, there is one thing about the story that I found interesting, the idea that we are predetermined to do certain things in our life. And that's always been an interesting concept of how much control do we have over our own reality and how much don't we control our own reality. And I think any story about that is personally very interesting, because some people like to blame the things they did on other people, and right away in this story, I don't think Michael's going to let you get away with that. I think Michael points out that while there is a long-term plan for us all, how we get to that plan is kind of on us, and when we make mistakes, we have to pay for those mistakes along the way. And I think Michael did a great job of setting up a story for that, and I really am excited to see where that goes from. Obviously, I recommend this. Mike's just chiming in now. He said, when I was trying to design him a car, I thought about multiple different cars I like. I wanted some classy but slightly hot rod. I fused like a 50s classic car with a 60s muscle car, and also a bit of, and I can't see the rest of it. I think that's just because I'm in live mode right now. But I mean, it looks badass. I want to know where I can get it. I might actually become an assassin now just so I can afford to have that car made and ask you for the specs, because I'm a big, like most of us, we grew up with the Batmobile, and like that just that kind of car, that kind of badass thing that the Batmobile had growing up, that's what this car Michael made has. It looks like one of those cars that is like very serious. We have to actually take, I hope it shows up again. Michael, tell me the car will be an issue too, at least. Or at least I'll see it again, because I want to see the add-ons it has. I mean, that kind of even looks, just the grill in itself, it looks very badass. And I don't know, maybe I played with Hot Wheels too much, but that was certainly something that was very funny to me. Not funny, but interesting. Funny is something, the reason I said that is because I looked down at the cover again, and you have his character burping on the cover, and I think that's awesome. I also will share with you guys, because I don't think it's that big of a giveaway, because I've said that there's going to be an issue 2. I'm going to show you the concept cover for issue 2. Now, obviously, the comic book is an adult superhero comic horror. That's perfect. That's a perfect way to describe that. That's exactly what it is. And here's the concept cover. I know nothing's permanent until it's done, but this is a concept cover. And I know that the amazing Kane. I love that. I know that I'm excited to see the second issue. I think Michael is a good guy, and I've seen him literally start this from scratch and work so hard and so diligently on it. And just, I mean, he made this out of nothing. He dragged it out of his head. He sat down, and he came to me one day and he said, "Rob, can you point me in the way of who the publishers are out there?" And I said, "Here are a couple names." And he was a man on a mission. Issue 2 does have a new cover, but the Amazing Spider-Man 300 homage cover will not happen on issue 2. Will happen, but not on issue 2. Oh, I would have liked to see it on issue 2, but I look forward to when it does show up. But like I was saying with Mike, Michael made this happen, and that's indie. There's nothing like indie comics when you have that idea in your head and you need to share it with the world, and that's what Michael did. Michael shared this with the world. He gave us this comic book, and he's only going to get better. And this is really, like, I mean, Written Sins was made for a guy like Michael because he needs someone to support him in those early months, and I'm glad if I was able to support him in any way. I'm very happy for that. But I'm also happy to see that timeline and that growth of his. I mean, he was showing me when it was just a concept of an idea of what he wanted to do, and he always had that story in his head, and he just forced it onto the world, and that's a good thing because he never made excuses. I never heard Michael talk about having writer's block. I never heard Michael talk about how he can't get it done. I never heard Michael talk about how it's everyone else's fault his comic's not getting done. I heard Michael come to me and go, "Hey, Rob, can you put this out there and just get a couple people to see it? Hey, Rob, could you share this art? Hey, Rob, what do you think about this?" He was always so eager and passionate about the project, and honestly, that comes out in a comic book. And that's why, like, Michael Metlin's Kane, I really do think is worth it, because I think it's something, it's finally a comic book that shows a lot of passion and a lot of creativity and what any indie creator can do when they put their mind to it. And that's not to say Michael's not a very talented guy. I expect to see always better. I think Michael's one of those guys who's starting here. You're at the beginning with him right now. And as he goes, he's only going to get better. And he's going to get more passionate, and I think belief is in him now. Because what I've seen from just the little bit I've seen from issue 2, and I haven't seen a lot. I'd like to see a lot more. I'd like to read the script after reading issue 1. But from what I've seen of Michael, he is just raising the bar, and he is going to make issue 2 even better. And I'm looking forward to already doing issue 2 reviews. I know I've taken up probably more time than I intended to. I wanted to thank Michael for coming on tonight and being able to talk about the car, because, you know, sometimes you do one of these things, you don't really get to talk to the creator while you're doing something like this, so that was cool and unique. If anyone has any questions, oh wait. Brian Silverbox has an incredible variant cover for issue 2. It will be a limited print. Brian, I think Silverbox, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'm very bad with names sometimes. He's a hell of a talented guy, and I will tell you what, when we release both covers, I hate teases, Michael. I don't like teases. Don't tell me there's going to be a variant cover without showing it to the class. But obviously I'm excited to see it. I think it's great things coming. I know Michael's expecting to have issue 2 out sooner than later. He's a man on a mission. He has a story to tell, and he's going to be telling it. So if you have not picked it up, I would go through the Advent comics, and I'm actually going to go through Advent comics now to get my official comic book. It was nice to see what Amazon does with it, but I want to see the other version. I want to kind of compare it to each other. So I would start with Advent, unless you have Amazon and Amazon Prime and you're looking to save shipping. But I mean, ultimately, like we talked about at the very beginning, for those who are showing up now and coming in and out and reading it later, what we discovered is when we went to Advent, it was actually cheaper at Advent to just get it shipped to you. So I definitely would do that. Yeah, I can't read it. It cuts off. Yeah, I'll definitely. Ooh, we're gonna get first look on written sins now. That's what I'm talking about, Michael. Yeah, and we'll be very happy to share the shit out of it. But yeah, I mean, Amazon's an interesting thing. It's something we all want to do. I know Amazon also does comic books. I don't know if this went through the same thing. Michael, do you know? You're still on. Do you know if this actually is going through the comic book section or is this going through the book section? Do you know about that? Because I'm only starting to kind of deal with Amazon. I know there's 2 different divisions. Sorry, I got crazy dogs at the moment. Yeah, do you know that, Michael? Mike, you still there? I know there's a delay, so while there's a delay, and my son's running around, he apparently needs a diaper, we're going to take a quick flip through the books, just to give a little thing of what's going on. Up. Yeah, when you go to Amazon, that's all you gotta do is put Michael Metlin's Kane in. That's how easy. That's how I found it one day when we were just talking. I was like, I want that comic book, and I didn't at the moment. I had Amazon open, and he said he was on Amazon, and I was like, that's kind of cool. So I definitely wanted to get a comic book from Amazon from him because I think it's really cool that he's on Amazon. I mean, I'm envious. I want to be on Amazon myself one day. So this was very exciting. It's dinner time for me here. I know my son's getting hungry. Michael, thank you again for showing up tonight. I'm sorry about the unboxing. Don't know what happened with that video. I blame Facebook. I think it's Facebook's fault always. I think it's just the easiest way to go. But Michael, thank you. I look forward to issue 2, and I look forward to covering anything I can. That's right. It's also available on digital, Michael. I did not mention that, but if you're a digital guy, it is absolutely available. Let's see, it's heading to Comixology too. Can't wait for that. I actually do think that we have the link to Kindle. I think it's somewhere in here. It's definitely on Kindle. I've seen it on Kindle. I can't do Kindle. I need to hold a comic book. If I don't hold a comic book, I get bored. It's like reading Facebook. I need to hold it, and I need to smell it. I miss the old comic books when you used to write it and you used to get ink on your fingers. But I gotta go, guys. Sorry I took up so much time. It was a great comic book. It needed that amount of time to be talked about. Luckily, there were no commercials. So, you guys have a great weekend. Michael, we're looking forward to issue 2. And we're looking forward to seeing what comes next. I know I am. Everyone, buy this issue today. It's your homework. Have a great weekend, guys.